Okay. So what we can do is, if you remember the higher, what we have done is we have gone to the business process, create, copy or link definitions, higher. This is what we have done actually. Since we already done, we are not able to do again. But now the same position also happened the same. What you can do is create position. Okay, so you can add business process to the supervisor organization and start creating position, and that will be applicable for only your supervisor organization in which you wanted to create position actually. Okay, and as you're adding a top level of the supervisor organization, this will get inherited to all the subordinate organizations as well. So that when you type for business process, if you're not finding default definition only in this tenant, okay, don't take this as a kind of generic statement that you can do in real tenant also. Okay, real tenant you will not be doing this. Okay, since this is a training tenant, since we are not able to find the actual business process that we wanted to use for creating position, I'm giving you alternate option, and that though the concept is a similar what we discussed, but you'll not see these kind of cases in real tenant. Okay, so for now, to have you create positions and hire an employees into that, you can actually add business process like this into your supervisor organization and start creating position. If you wanted to search now, let's say if I'm creating a position, I'm inserting a business process for this supervisor organization and click on OK. Now I wanted to find the business process that is allowing me to create a position. If it is standard one, I'll find only the standard one. But since I'm not able to find the standard one, no, default one that Workday has provided. Since I'm not able to find, I've added this one to the supervisor organization. Tomorrow, if I wanted to find, okay, if I wanted to find business process, BP, create position for Workday Insights. If you try with this, it should actually get the one that got created just now.
That's what I was talking about, how to filter the results.
Yeah.
Is there filter, or do we need to scroll down till the last?
No, you can do a kind of search control find. You can actually do something like this.
Okay, control F. Okay.
So find out your relevant term that you have used for creating.
After the class, can you get back the default option for a business process?
No, that is not in my control. Okay, that's not something that I can do. It's something vendor has to do. It's a standard thing, right? We were able to see on Friday, but something would have happened on Wednesday. Okay, this tenant is not in my control. This is not tenant that I am controlling this one. This is something we are getting from Cloud Foundation. I don't have any control on this tenant. Okay,
but
with the knowledge
Amit,
that I have, I can do something, but they have not given any control to us actually to make any changes.
Hello, Amit.
Let me complete what I'm answering. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have a complete control on this, tenant activities. I can do with the, with the kind of knowledge and with the kind of activities that I do, but we don't have authorized or kind of an authentication to do all those things. We'll be getting an error that you are not authorized person to do this.
Okay.
So what I would suggest is go ahead and if you wanted to create a position and start hiring employees, the option that I've shown you, right? Insert your business process into organization and start doing the position creations and all that will allow you.
Okay, I'll do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was the other question? Other folks were asking?
Amit, but we check the logs like where the settings have been like.
No, we don't have all those things. We don't have all those kind of controls in this channel. Whatever the standard things and all that, we can actually find. We don't know who has changed all those things and all that will take time. Yeah? So we have 100 versions of more than 100 versions of the create person business process. So it will take a lot of time to investigate and to find that. I'll see if I can get you some information or some fix by tomorrow. I think something is the security is actually blocking something because I'm trying to find the one that I just created. Okay, so I'm not able to find the one that I just created for creating position. I'll see if I can find some security what is missing and get that business process definition, default definition one. For now, what I'll talk is since I'm talking about the options that we have in the business process, which are common, okay, which are common across all the business process steps. So I'm taking the one that I've created previously. Okay, so create position for one of the other supervisor organization that I've created in previous batch. I'm trying to access that one and show you the options that are available in create when you configure a business process, which are same across all the business process we have in Workday. Okay. So now I got into business process configuration option. Then it is too slow actually. Okay. I'll go to the edit mode of this one. I'm editing the business process. Okay. So any business process that is there in Workday will defaultly have step A actually. Okay. Will defaultly have step A that will be already available, which will take care of initiating the transaction actually. Okay. Initiation step will be already there. Okay. If you wanted to have anything other than this one, let's say now I'm in create position. Okay. When you create a position, after submitting the create position task, someone has to review this position. Okay. Hiring manager has to review the position, or HR has to review the position, or anyone from anyone from that particular department has to review this one. If you have such kind of requirement, you need to add certain steps to the business process. Okay. So I told you, right? Business process is nothing but sequence of tasks executing in order. Okay. So if you go to the business process, edit the business process reference, you have an option to configure the steps actually. Okay. You can configure the steps that you wanted to have. And remember, your order should be the sequence of the execution, or the order of the business process can be like this: A, B, C, D. Okay. In this way, this is sequential order. Okay. Sequence after A, B will come, after B, C will come, after C, D will come. Okay. That's the sequence we have, right? So this is nothing but a sequence order, actually. The sequential execution of the business process. But you cannot configure like this: 1, 2, 3. You cannot configure a business process with just a numeric after initiation action. Because your business process will not understand numeric, which is not a sequence of A actually. After A, what will come? numeric order, the alphabetical order, if you see, after A, B will come, right? Like that, a sequence has to be there. But here, after initiation, A step, you're seeing something different, which is not a sequence actually. Okay. So this kind of order you cannot add when you're adding the business process, but you can go like this. Okay, A1, A1, A2, like this you can go, because it's a sequence A1, A2, like this is the sequence, because you have alpha, continuously alpha is there, right? It is actually continuing. But you cannot just go with numeric action, which is not a sequence action. Okay, in this way you can actually go. So in this way you can actually configure the business. So the other way is parallel execution. Okay, parallel. Let's say I have B, I have C, I have D. Okay, step B. If I configure step B, someone has to review the position. Okay, so action. Okay, I'll talk about all these options in a while. Okay, I'm trying to show you the sequence actually. Someone has to review this one, review position. Who has to review? Someone like manager who is hiring, can be, or I can use for HR administrator to review the position. The next thing is approving the position. Okay, after someone HR reviews the position, have this position to be approved. Okay, have this position to be approved. So I'm selecting approval. Who has to approve? Manager has to approve. So I'm actually giving manager. And then next is again an action. Assign pay group or assign change org assignment. Change org in the sense assigning company or cost center to the position actually. Okay. So this one will be done by HR. This sample, for you to explain how it works, I've created this. Okay. Now, if you see, I have 4 business process steps. Okay. One is actually initiating the create position business process. The other one is someone who has to review the position, and action step will be triggering from here. Someone to take action of reviewing the position. The other one is approval. After someone reviews the position, it has to be approved by manager actually, who is a hiring manager actually. Okay. And the next thing is HR partner will be assigning org assignments, meaning that what are org assignments? Any non-supervisor organizations is a org assignments. So HR partner will be assigning company cost center to here. So here we have sequential execution. A, B, C, D is a sequential execution. Okay. So if you wanted to have 2 steps triggered in the same time, okay, let's say B, you are taking an action. And again, if you configure B here, you should be seeing both the steps, action and approval step of create position will be executing in one go. Okay, because the moment create position initiates, okay, next is B. We have 2 steps that are configured as B. These 2 steps will be triggering in once actually. In one go, these 2 steps will be triggering, and then step C will start. Okay, the moment initiation step completes, these 2 steps will trigger, and the moment this step is completing, C will trigger actually. Okay, that's what parallel execution is. Sequential execution is different, parallel execution is different. Okay. Any questions anyone have here? Anything not clear or anything not making sense?
So for A step, we do not need to specify anything for initiation, right?
Initiation by default, it will be there for every business process. You don't need to configure any initiation step. Every business process will have this option. By default, that will be happening. Okay.
Okay.
Any business process, initiation by default, it will happen. Who has to initiate that? That control we have. Okay. Who needs to have create position permissions? That level of control we have something at business process security level, which you can do. but we don't have an option to stop or block inheritance steps, initiation step, not inheritance, initiation step for any business process at step A. Step A will be predefined, it is already configured in the system. Okay.
Amit,
Any other questions anyone have before we jump on to the
Amit, can you
options?
hear me?
Yeah.
Amit, can we do order like this? A, B, A, C, A, D like that in order? Can we keep like that?
You mean this one?
Yeah, like that. Yes.
Yeah, this we can do. Okay, because you're following the sequence, no? You're following the sequence, and you can actually do. This also will work actually.
Yeah, in middle also we can convert the B as B, C, B, D like that. We can do.
BCBD. Why you're going in such a complicated way? Okay, so you have easy process to handle this. So
Okay.
instead of making things complex to fix anything, so that will be a little difficult, right? So if you're increasing the order numbers and all, instead of that, you have a straightforward way. If you wanted to go with sequence, you can actually go. This is one option we have. Okay. Or if you wanted to go with A1, A2 is something that you can follow. And this way you can do. So
Yeah,
whatever
okay, Amit.
you can
I
do
get
A, B also, but in middle also you're saying something has to get changed, right? So why to make things complex actually when we have very easy process to have in the configuration and also to fix anything that is not working, you can easily identify with the sequence, right?
Yeah, Amit, I get it. Amit, can we do that A10 means A10 like that? If you
No,
go
that
for the
sequence
order
will change.
parallelly.
Yeah. So if you wanted to add another step, you need to go for A11 then. If you're starting at A10, the other step that you're configuring should be A11.
Okay.
A11,
Instead of A10, I need to give that A11.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Or you can end here also. Let's say if you're giving A10. Now there is no other sequences in between this one. Directly after A step, this one will trigger. And after that, you can actually go, you can start again the first step with B. You can start. Okay. Since there is no other sequence between that, next order is B. Then it comes to B actually. After completion of
Yeah.
step A10, it will come to B.
Yeah, okay, Amit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now coming to types actually. Okay. These are all options we have when we configure the business process actually. Okay. So action is nothing but what are all the available actions that you can perform for create position business process. Okay. So what are all the actions that you can do? Someone can actually take an action in reviewing the position. Okay. Someone can actually assign non-supervisor organizations to change org assignments. Someone can assign pay group for position actually, assigning under which pay group you wanted to have this position to be created. Okay. Similarly, you have an option to default compensation for position event. Okay. If there is any kind of default standard compensation that needs to be assigned for that particular position, you can actually configure this business process step as an action item. Okay. Generate document. If there is anything, once step A completes, a document has to be generated, and the employee or someone who is authorized to actually do based on the security group that you assign. Based on the security group that you assign here. So HR partner, if someone gets the kind of document, that person will be taking an action. Okay, so these are all action items we have. Okay, so action item that is nothing but the action that you can perform on the create position. What are the actions that you have? These are all the actions you have. Someone can actually take an action to review the position. Someone can actually take an action to generate a document. Someone can take an action by assigning change org assignments, meaning that assigning company cost under this one. Someone can actually assign a pay group. Okay, so all these kind of things can happen through action items. So this is just specific to create position. Okay, all the types are common for all the business process that we have in Workday. Okay, all these options are common for all the business process we have in Workday, but the specification will be specified by the business process. Okay, this specified step or what all the options that you are seeing, right? These are specific to the business process. I will not see the same for other business process. Since this is a create position, I'm able to see all the specifications actually. But for other business process, this may be different actually. These things may be different. Okay. So action is nothing but which allows someone to take an action on the business process. Okay. And the approval. Okay. Approval is very easy to take. Someone has to approve. Okay. So when initiation step is completed, someone has to approve the create position. And then once that person approves, then position will get created actually. Okay. If there is any hiring manager, approval is needed, create the position or any kind of other senior person who actually takes care of budgets and all. So if that person approves, your position will get created. Okay. So approval is nothing but which allows one to approve, which is nothing but a business process transaction, right? Approval is nothing but a business process transaction. Okay. So you configure a business process type called approval, and who has to approve is what your thing is. So whatever the security that you've configured for approval step in the business process security policy, you will be calling that security. Let's say approval should be done by HR administrator. When the position has got created, it has to be approved by HR admin. Okay. So when position gets created with this step, the moment step A gets initiated, it comes to the step B, approval, and HR admin will be approving this one. Okay. The approval is nothing but which allows to approve the business process transaction. Okay.
Is this something
Clear?
that can be done if a person is working only in HR or working in another department and sending this request to HR for approval? Or is
No,
it approved within HR?
No, I've taken HR as an example, but anyone. So generally, position approvals will be generic. If you talk in generic scenario, all the position will be for supervisor, organization, hiring a manager. Okay. So if when position is getting created, you can add any approval. You can, if you wanted to add HR admin, you can add someone in HR needs to approve. You can actually do, or someone in recruiting you wanted to get approved. Okay, you can add recruiting the person to the security group, and recruiting team will be getting a permissions to approve. Okay, so it's not specific to HR. You can add any person's security, but you cannot add individual account. You can add only in security to which individuals will be getting access for. Okay. So you can add any other group here other than HR.
Thank you.
That only I said, right? Business process and security are the first level of the configuration that you make when you configure, when you start implementing a Workday. Okay, so that's business process and security are the first activity that you will be doing in order to implement any system, any module, I can say. So approval is nothing but which allows you to approve the business process transaction. Okay, example, create position. I said it, once position gets created, hiring manager has to approve this one. Okay, so you need to add a security group where hiring manager is part of that security group. Okay, let's say if HR administrator is a security group that allows hiring manager to be part, we'll be adding that security group actually, HR admin security group. Okay, or hiring manager, if you want to have just a manager, you need to add manager security group to the business process security policy in approval transaction, and then that manager security group will come here. Okay, like how you're seeing, these security groups. Similarly, manager will come here. Okay, so we also have manager. So if you wanted to have manager to approve, this one manager, based on the configuration that you make here, manager will be getting inbox task to approve, and then manager will be approving this one. So approval is nothing but which allows one to approve the business process transaction. Okay. So when you actually configure an approval step, okay, you have an option here. All is there, no? All is there, right? When you uncheck, you can uncheck this one. Okay. So if you're taking HR admin as a kind of approval here, okay. So now if I'm unchecking this one, okay, and click on OK. So when position gets created, HR admin has to approve is what we have configured actually, right? So let's say in HR administration security group, we have 10 people in that HR administrative security group. Okay. 10 people are there. And when you configure this one, all the 10 people has to approve that. Then only position will get created. If not, position will not get created because we have selected all. Okay, all means people who are part of security group. Let's say if I go to HR administration security group, okay, if I go to HR administrative security group, there are loads of people who are associated with the security group. So everyone has to take an action. Then only position will get created based on the option that you have selected. You can see here, this many people are there. 212 people are there. Okay, but in general, this many will not be there. Since this is a training period, you can see some junk information. Hardly you can see in general scenario 10 or 15 members actually. Okay, so coming back to the security group. So since you'll be selecting all the people who are part of the security should take an action by approving this one. Okay. If you uncheck this one, at least one person. If you uncheck this one, at least one person who is part of HR administrative security group can take an action to approve the position. Okay. That's what this option talks about. Okay. So if you are checking,
we specify only one person's name in HR administrator group?
For one person, we will not create a security group actually. For one person.
Approval step, is there any way so that only that person will get the approval request?
No. We cannot configure anything for individual actually. Okay.
Okay.
So we cannot configure anything individual. If there is anything, so this security group, whatever we are talking, right? We cannot configure this for specific person actually. Okay. There needs to be group of people, and those group of people will be attached with this security group who will have similar permission.
Got it.
Okay. But for just one person, anytime we will not create a security group. Okay.
And maximum number of people a security group can have is 15, right?
No, there is no limit actually. You can have, let's say your Workday, your HR members, global HRs are around 3 to 4 members. Okay. So you can actually add HR administrator is nothing but by looking at the name of the secretary, we can say that all the HR admin related activities can be performed, meaning that any HR activity can be performed by HR administrator. Okay. So if there are 4 people who needs to get HR administrator access, who can actually perform any task in HR Workday system, there all those 4 members or 5 members or any number can actually attach with HR administrator secretary. Okay. So that when this approval step triggers, all those 4 people will be getting an inbox notification that the position has got created. It requires their approval in order to complete the transaction. Okay. So if I'm checking this one, all the 4 people has to take an action so that position will get created. If I'm not checking this one, at least one person among the 4 has to take an action, and once that one person takes an action, it will go off from the all other 3 members inbox action because the other person has taken action, right? There is nothing that again these 3 folks needs to do. That's the reason why once at least one person takes an action, it goes off from the inbox actually from the other members.
Okay.
So that's a kind of important option that you should be familiar. And you can see here, there is a checkbox called optional actually. You can make this step as an option. Right now, what will happen is, Once step A triggers, step A completes, B will come. Okay, once B step completes, after anyone approves this one, it goes for next step actually. But if you take this optional step, okay, this optional step, it will not wait actually. Okay, since this is an optional step, it will not wait the other step to complete actually. Okay, once step B completes, since this is an optional, immediately the other step on top of B will get completed. Okay, because system will understand that this is an optional step, either getting approved, either getting approved or anything is an optional. It's not a kind of mandate since you have given optional, right? System will not wait for this one to approve. Okay, so the moment it A step completes, this one will trigger, but system will not work. They will not look at this status actually. Immediately it go for next step because you made this as an optional, right? If you remove this one, until this approval step completes, it will go for step C actually. But you have made as optional, step C will not wait for this one to complete. Okay, immediately once A completes, this one will trigger, and since this is an optional, immediately C will trigger and go on further actually. Because you made this as an optional, you're saying this to be optionally executed actually. It will not control the other step that will be executing after that. Clear? Anyone have any questions? Anything not clear? If anything is not making sense or not getting clear, just hold me off. Okay, hold me off, check the purpose, and then it should be good actually. Okay. That's the specification of optional. And the next thing is after approval, you have an approval chain actually. Okay. If you want, okay, multiple people from different security group has to take an action. Okay. So you can go for approval chain actually. Approval chain, you can go and you can configure multiple security groups here. Okay. Like this, you can go. And here you can see once the moment I have selected approval chain, okay, you can see all has gone actually. Okay. If you see the difference between approval, this requires your so user who is configuring this one or business who needs a kind of specific activity. So approval does not require everyone to approve because until you select this one. Okay. If you select this one, everyone in the security group has to approve. But if you go for an approval chain, there is no option for you that only one person has to approve. Every person has to get approve this one because this is an approval chain. All the people who are part of HR administration should approve this one, then only it will go further. And also you have another option that you can configure other security groups also here. Okay. Other security groups also you can configure. Okay. So who are part of these two security groups can approve this one. Okay. Then only it will go for next step. Until you make this as an optional, this will not go further. Okay. So until if this is required based on the configuration that we have, every person who is part of this security group has to approve. Then only it will go for next step. Okay. That's the difference between approval chain. Approval step, we have a control that this has to be approved by one person or multiple person. We have a control. But approval chain, we don't have a control. Okay, everyone based on the security configuration that you're making here, everyone who is part of the security should approve this one. That's the difference between approval and approval chain. Is this clear? Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, Amit, just little confused about this with the optional.
Okay, so there is nothing confusion. Okay, so if you want this optional step, okay, if you want when your business process executes, if you want the business process to consider this step, you can actually uncheck this one. Okay, so until this process, every person takes an action, this will not complete. But if you want to consider this as an optional step, there is no difference or there is no huge impact if you're skipping this step. Okay, so even a person doesn't take an action. Okay, the other step C, will not wait for this one. So if you configure, if you have another step C, okay, let's say after someone has an approved, there is an action, someone has to review. Okay, someone has to review the position. What will happen is when you configure an approval chain, okay, approval chain, everyone has to approve, and then only it will go for next step. But if you make this as an optional step, since this is an required step and it's an optional, step C will not wait for step B to complete. Actually, automatically step A will trigger, initiation step will trigger, and then B will perform. And since this is an optional step, step C will not wait B to complete. Actually, it will automatically trigger, and the other person who has to review will get inbox item to review the position. That's the difference. If you uncheck this one, this is not an optional one, this is a required one. Okay, so this will not execute until step B is completed successfully. When this will complete successfully, because since this is an approval chain, all the people who are part of the security group has to take an action, then only it will get completed. That's what step A, B, C, what I was showing, we'll talk about. Is it
What's the
clear now?
turnaround? What's the
Yeah.
turnaround time that can be expected on average?
So on this, you mean step C to trigger?
Yes,
Or
if you look, if you
every
have
step
all the
goes.
required if you're requiring 3 levels of approval, what would be the average turnaround time if someone is trying to get a new position filled and have people interview to identify and select a person with the steps going through for approval on average, what turnaround time
There is
can
no
one
specific time here. The moment, if you're going with sequential order, the moment the previous step completes, automatically the next step will trigger. Okay. If the previous step is not completing and that is waiting for other person's inbox, until that step completes, other step will not trigger actually. If you have configured 3 approval steps, okay, one for HR, one for manager, one for other senior person. Okay, so and you have gone with you have not gone with optional. Okay, so you've gone with all the 3 are required steps. When you don't configure optional steps, which means that all those 3 are required steps. So until
Yes.
the previous step completes, the other step will not trigger actually.
So if someone is on a leave of absence or on vacation, that could hold up the process.
That's where reassign will come into the picture, no? We can actually reassign that task sitting in one person inbox to other inbox.
Oh, so then you could option for that person?
Yeah, so we can actually, not an action, we can, let's say you are my manager. Okay, I've submitted a leave. Okay, my leave request is sitting with you and you're out of office actually. Okay,
Yes.
and my leave request is waiting for your approval and my leave date has come actually. Since you're out of office, you're not able to action on that one. I'll reach out to Workday team or I'll reach out to HR saying that my manager is out of leave. Okay, and my leave request is sitting in the inbox and that needs to get approved. So here, what Workday team member will do is they will actually reassign my leave request that is sitting in your inbox to other person who can actually approve. Okay, that is one way of doing. Or the other way is we have a standard concept called delegation actually. Okay, when you are going on leave, okay, anything that comes to your inbox will be delegated to other person. Okay, whom you decide. Let's say your manager is the other person that you have identified will be backup for you when you are off actually. Okay, so you'll place a request, or you'll let your Workday team to configure the delegation that anything that you need to action will be routed to your manager, and that person will be taking care of all the delegations actually. Anything, either it can be leave, either it can be any other thing, all those tasks will be going to delegated person, and that person will be taking care of that. So two options we have: one is reassign, the other one is delegate.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, I think so. I've got a lot of things running through my head, but that part of it makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. So only two things simple. When you're not able to take an action, either that can be reassigned. Okay, either that can be resigned, that is one option, or a delegation can be configured before you go on leave actually. When your leave is starting, you can actually request Workday team members to configure a delegation and give a name of the employee who will be backup for you, and that person will be getting all the tasks that you are supposed to take in action. And during your absence, that person will be taking care of those.
Okay. Thank
Amit,
you.
a follow-up question on this question. So you said it could be assigned. So the assigned is a manual process.
Reassignment is a manual process. Yeah.
Reassign is okay. So if we have a delegation
Delegate
configuration
is
setup,
automated actually.
right?
Delegate
So
is
if
automated one-time setup actually.
right, so in that scenario, so do we have to do anything on the business process itself, or is that an automatic? Assuming we already have delegation configuration assigned in some other function. So person A is out of office. We have configured it to delegate to person B in absence of person A, right? So that's a different function altogether. So in this business process, what we are configuring, do we have to specify or do anything, or will that be an automatic thing?
So you have an option there. Okay, whether you wanted to have this delegation to configure for all the business process that will be triggering for this person. So you'll have an option when you select all business process, every task or every inbox item that this person will get will be delegated. Or so there is some specific business process that you can select. Okay, you wanted to have only create position, you wanted to have only hire employee business process. Okay, so only these two tasks to be delegated, you have an option to select specific business process also, and based on that only business process.
Amit, I lost you. Cannot hear you.
What I was mentioning is you have an option to specify which business process should be delegated, or you have an option to configure every business process can be delegated kind of options you have. So if you select all business process, it will not specifically look for any specific business process. Every business process task that comes, that will be delegated actually. Also you have specific business process option. So if you select, I can show you so that will be clear actually. So business process, so I'm trying to configure a delegation for Jacqueline actually. Okay, so you can see here. So the other thing is in progress. So what I can do is I can cancel this one and show you the actual setup. So there is already one delegation setting that Jacqueline has got. and that is in progress. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cancel this one. Okay, so now I can actually configure the fresh one. Okay, now you can see here. So this is how from which date to which date you want to have this delegation rule to apply, and who will be delegated person to whom you wanted to send delegated notifications. Right now, this is actually log on. So for Jacqueline, during this period, whatever business process that we have selected here, all those business process notifications will be delegated to log on actually. So log on will be backup, log on will be taking an action. So here you have an option of what all the tasks that you can send to your other person who will be delegated. This is for all the business process actually. Okay. If you want to have for any specific business process, you can actually select that specific business process here from the list. So the delegation will apply for only that business process, and any other business process will not look at delegation. Make sense?
Perfect. Got it, Amit. Then one other question, Amit. Say the business process, but this is completely on a different note. So if you have, say, 5 steps in the business process, and for whatever reason, one of them fails. So is there a way to go and check where exactly it failed?
You cannot see any failure in the business process because this is not a job, right? You will not see failure, but sometimes invalid security might actually hold your business process. Let's say you've configured HR partner. Okay, HR partner, there were 2 members actually, and those 2 members got terminated and they are not active in the system. So now since HR partner security group is assigned to those 2 persons, those 2 people are terminated, and business process is not trying to understand to whom it has to assign that step. So there your business process will hold actually. So it will not be understanding to whom it has to assign. In that way, you can actually check what has happened to this, why it is not proceeding further. You have an option to check that one. Okay, so whenever any business process completes, let's say if I go to one of the worker history transaction for Jacqueline. So here you can see title change business process is there. Okay, title change business process for Jacqueline is in progress, and it is sitting with these people to get approved actually. And if you wanted to understand the complete process, you can see here any business process that will get triggered, you have process actually, which will show you what are the next steps and what are the steps are completed. You can actually get it from here. Okay, there you can understand. Here you can see it is where title change approval, it is waiting for HR partner, and there are no people to take an action. So business process is not understanding to assign to anyone. So here you can fix something like this. Okay, you can reassign and do manual adjustment to get it assigned to someone. So any business process, you can see process actually. Process will give you complete as per the configuration that you have made. It will give complete step level understanding where it is, with whom it is waiting, and who has to take an action. It will be showing all the steps actually.
Perfect. Thank you, Amit.